Hey, what's up guys? Brian Savage here with you, and I'm starting a new project, and the wife said, Brian, why are you not recording this? And she's right, because I do so many projects that I never record. I like to do it, but man, guys, you don't realize unless you do this how much of a hassle sometimes it is to record it and edit it and render it and upload it. And it seems like for every minute of footage that you shoot, you have about an hour to make a finished product. So do that math for a 15-minute video. Maybe it's not that bad, it's just what it seems sometimes. Plus, my upload speed ain't the greatest here in Kentucky, but it's not bad. Regardless, I digress. So anyway, I started a project today and the wife said, Brian, you need to show it. So that's what I'm doing. And today's project that I'm starting, and this is going to take me several days, a week or so, is I'm doing a woodworking project, making a set of grips for a pistol. And I'll show you the last ones I did, and the next ones I do are going to be similar to it in coloration and things. Before I do that, I'm not going to talk to you about gun rights or any of that kind of stuff. That's your own bed to sleep in. It's what makes you comfortable. What I do want to talk about before I go any further is gun safety. This firearm is unloaded rather. I always treat it as if it is loaded, even though I know it isn't. And when I have teenage children that are in my house, and anytime there's a firearm in my house that is not on me personally, it is unloaded and under lock and key, and the ammunition is under lock and key. Those keys are not accessible to the kids. I feel very, very strongly about that. I trust our children emphatically. I, however, am not going to take the chance of something so simple as just unload it and lock it up on my kids' lives or anyone else's lives. So please, 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 if you are a gun owner, please be a responsible gun owner, and that means if that gun is not on your person, unload it and lock it up. The days of having Grandpa's shotgun behind the door loaded should be gone. Be safe. Okay, now that I've preached. Anyway, so this is my wife's cowboy gun, as she calls it. It's a 22 revolver. It's not an expensive one. It's a Chiappa, but it comes with little black plasticky grips, and I made these out of some very highly figured ash that I got from the sawmill. In fact, I got this piece on the day of one of my Monday vlogs. I think it was my very first one when I was riding around in the truck, is when I got this particular piece of ash. And I got her the gun, I made her the grips, gave it to her for Valentine's Day. She was over the moon, she loves it. She showed her co-worker, and her co-worker wants a set for a Smith & Wesson airweight 38 special. Nice little gun. Has these rubber grips on it, and so that's the one I'm doing it on. So the first thing I do is I look at the firearm and see how the grips are made. Of course, it's just a screw in this side that goes into a nut in this side. And I look at the size of them and I find a piece of wood that I'm going to use. Now, the offcuts from the board from this is actually what I'm still going to use. This is one of the offcuts, and I won't be using this one. This is the end piece. Yeah, it's cupped really bad. It's where the knot was. And I've done some experimenting, on this piece here just to see how it would come out. This one as well, and I will be using this piece. That is going to be the outside of the left grip. And this piece, this is going to be the outside of the right grip. And I wrote on it, right, outside, inside, OI. It's right. Did the same thing on all the sides of this, so as I cut it, I can keep myself oriented to the way I wanted the grain. And that's how the blocks start out, like little blocks, just from offcuts. Now, this is what it kind of starts out when I get it from the sawmill. As you can see, this is really, really rough. It's full of knots. This is not wood that is a big enough piece for the sawmill to do anything with. This is an offcut scrap piece, but it is really nicely figured with all these knots, and the little pieces I can use to do little projects like this, I can cut around those bad pieces and just get the highly figured wood. And that's what I did with this one. As if you can see, like, there's the knot in that one that goes through to that side, and there's some cracking you probably wouldn't be able to make out in this, but you know, it's a scrap piece to them. So the first step was I selected the size of wood that I was going to need, and this is way thicker than I'm going to need, and it's way larger than I'm going to need, but I got to work around knots and pieces of bad and whatnot. So we'll remove the screw. Show you exactly how I did it. And you know, it was right after this step the wife stopped me and said, record this. So we'll go on for maybe like another 5 minutes or so, and we'll call this part 1, and maybe tomorrow, if I feel up to it, it'll be part 2. Now, something to take note of. Inside this grip is a bunch of holes and weight reliefs and all this and all that. There's only 2 holes in this grip that's actually important. One is right there, and the other is the hole that the screw goes through, right there. Now, the reason that other hole is important, if you see that sticking up, little locating roll pin that goes through there, that helps keep this in place and orient these on the frame. So take note of that kind of stuff. Now also, I don't know if you can tell, this is made by, these are Uncle Mike's. And again, I don't know if these are the stock grips that come with them, some of them, or what. You know, it says it fits a Smith & Wesson J-frame on it, and it's Uncle Mike's. So these may be aftermarket grips that were added to the firearm later, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But on the frame also, the frame goes around. There's a inset there, and then this inset. And the frame actually sets inside this groove, and the front of these two meet and cover the front of the frame, and the back and bottom of the frame are exposed. So I'm going to have to really take note of that line and route it out, drill those locating holes. It's going to be a process. This one here was quite a bit easier because the sides were flat all the way through. All I had to do is, there's a locating pin in it as well. I had to make sure that lined up. It's actually not a pin, it's just a little divot that, or I don't even know what you'd call it, little piece of protrusion that sticks up on either side of the bottom that holds it in there. Not quite as nice as a nice thick roller pin. So, I traced them out, just simply, you know, laid it on here, traced around it with an ink pen. And if you notice, I also have like the inside little hook there. And how I got that was I just kind of laid this against it and kind of guessed, you know. But that's step 1. You can see this is a test piece too. I dyed, but again, that'll all get ground down. That's the first step in making it. I'll call this part 1. And as I go on, I will do the other parts and record them, because my wife told me to, and I like being married to my wife, so I do what she tells me. But until then, guys, share the music, share the love. If you've gotten anything from this rambling, please take the part about gun safety seriously. I don't want your comments on it or anything else, good or bad. What I want you to do is just please, please, please be safe. Don't think, know. Okay? Till next time, guys. Peace out.